Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. Okay, so since I did my public announcement interview, there's a lot of people who were connected with R. Kelly that reached out to me. And it was just different people that wanted to like share their sides, and I didn't really feel like, I didn't want to drag the situation on. I just did not want to drag the R. Kelly situation on. So there are a lot of interviews that I passed on. A lot of people have been like sending me certain stuff like, did you see this interview? And in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's something I passed on. But the more and more that has come out about this whole Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, whether it be about people exposing them, trying to put together a narrative, and things like that, I decided to talk to Demetrius Smith. He had put a comment on my interview with Public Announcement, and I was like, you know what, DM me on my Instagram. And once he DM'd me, I was like, you know what, let's just set up an interview, because I was like, if I want to hear from anybody else, I want to hear from people that we know for a fact were there, not just the, oh, I seen this or that, like people that we know for a fact that he actually does have history with. So if y'all want to see this interview that got quite interesting at times, let's roll it. Hey guys, so I have been trying to get to the bottom of all the things that's been going on with R. Kelly, and today I have with me Demetrius Smith, and I want him to introduce himself, and then we're going to get this interview going.
Hi everyone, how you doing? My name is Demetrius Smith. Sometimes I feel ashamed of that because of, the shoes that I've walked in respect to this Surviving R. Kelly thing. But I am Demetrius Smith. Hi.
Okay, and explain to everyone what your role was with R. Kelly, what your association with him, how you guys met, how you became his road manager, and things like that.
Well, I met Robert back in 1985. He was about 16 years old at the time. I was a single myself. I helped groom him.
Okay.
I left him in 95. So 85 to 95, my association with him was getting him to the next level. He was always a talented, a writer. He was a writer. He wasn't a performer.
Wait, I'm going to stop you. Something is rattling. I think it's your headphones. So if you can just, like, while you're talking, like, lift it away from your shirt. Because when you move any kind of movement, it taps against your shirt and causes
Are you hearing it now?
So I'm going to start back. I'm going to reset. How did you guys meet? How did you start working with him? What's your your title associated with him was? Explain that to everybody watching.
I met R. Kelly in 1985 at a talent show at Kennywood Academy. I was doing some videotaping when VHSs first came out. My hustle was to tape people doing shows, and nobody had really seen themselves on a videotape, so I was taping them and selling them the tape. I saw R. Kelly, and I was an entertainer myself at the time, and he was singing an original song that just had me and my partner just look at each other and say, man, that's for you. And I approached Robert after the set, and I introduced myself to him. Mm-hmm. And from there, we began to work together from 85 to 95. Pretty much everything he went through.
Ooh, sorry.
Bless you. First with him and his brothers, we formed a little band. I introduced him to my family. They sponsored us, put him in the studio. Then from there, we went through some things, and I went another direction, came back to him. He was with MGM, so I worked with them through that, after which we performed. They won the big break. Then they broke up. Then we formed a Public Announcement, worked with them through all those.
Okay, and your role with working with him, you were his...
I was his personal assistant pretty much all the way through. Pretty much, I was, when I met him, like I say, he was a young kid, 16, and he was very bashful, very shy, very super silly. At the same time, he was shy. I pretty much think that I mean, this is just me. I'm not trying to take claim or anything, but I just think that he got his courage somewhat from me, because he was a bashful, shy kid. People used to mess with him and, talk about him, and he didn't ever come out. He didn't come out. And then I spent a lot of time with him, taking him into the subways, grooming him pretty much. And he came out of himself, and um, he was dedicated to his music. And that's when I supported that. I just, everything about me was to get him to the next level.
Oh, okay. So you came on as his personal assistant because in the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, it said that you were his road manager, right?
I was his road manager the first 5 years of his career.
Okay.
I was with him when he signed his deal with Jive Records, born into the 90s. That was the first album. And I worked with him through up until the Leah situation. And
Okay.
I left after that. Yeah.
Okay. Since you mentioned the Aaliyah situation, there was mention in the docuseries that you helped forge the marriage certificate in that. So can you elaborate on what happened with that?
Yeah, I'll elaborate on it because they did. Lifetime told me when I sat with them that, and I spoke with them about 3-4 hours. They called me back again to sit and talk to me. They told me they were doing a documentary on R. Kelly's beginning, in which I was a vital part of his beginning. So I didn't have a problem with doing that because um, I didn't have a problem with telling this beginning story because nobody really knew it. Nobody was telling that. Everybody's talking about now, and I was a part of his beginning. I wrote a book about that beginning entitled The Man Behind the Man. I published it in 2010, and it's been on the internet ever since. It tells about pretty much everything that's going on with him right now. It was a book that I wrote in prison because after I left him and Leah, I went to prison.
Okay.
And,
well, we'll get into that later,
okay.
but for now, just let us know what happened with the whole Aaliyah situation.
Leah's situation is very emotional for me.
Okay.
I truly always like to just say apologize, and I can't apologize enough for my part in that. I can't apologize, and I can't talk about it long. I can't. I can only say what I did. I did not forge any documents. When I drove, I took them, and they followed me in another car, actually. See, when Lifetime was talking to me, they were throwing words at me, and I had to learn now how to take my time to talk because I was trying to explain it as I am now, and they were throwing words at me. And they threw that word at me for us because to some extent it was a bit, I assisted in something that I should not have been a part of. So I ate that word forge. But I did not forge him, and I spit it back out. But I drove, and they followed me to a place where she got an ID to get a marriage license. Okay. And
wait. Okay, so you're saying that they drove following behind you.
They're following behind me
to a place. So what you're saying is you guys got, or she got a fake ID. Is that what you're saying?
She got it was a real ID, but it was from downtown. It was a legitimate ID from a work source, say a FedEx place, and then the other place was a county building or something. She got legitimate IDs to go get a marriage license.
So it wasn't like a government ID; it was like a work ID.
It was government ID and a work ID.
And you're saying that it wasn't. I mean, if it had her name with a different age, that would make it a fake ID, right?
It's a fake ID, but it was a real ID. It was a government. It was, it's now. I'm not gonna. It was years ago.
No, I understand.
There's no excuse for it, but I took them down to a government official place, and somebody there took some money, and they took her ID for her. Okay. And it was, and it's like you go into the county, it's like you go get a driver's license, and I know somebody in there, and I'll take you in there, and they'll give you a driver's license. You ain't got to take no test. You just give them some money. And that's what happened with that, and that got her a marriage license. And nobody forged anything. It's their signatures.
Okay, so the only thing that you're saying that your role was just, you were just there when she got the fake ID, or the real ID, but the fake, whatever, however we're going to describe the ID.
I took them to a place where she got an ID to get her a marriage license.
Okay, but you didn't forge the marriage license documents. That was all Aaliyah and him who put.
Yes, their signatures. Yes, their signatures.
Okay, so now I get what. Okay, so a lot of people, and I know that you don't want to stay on this long, and we'll move past this, but a lot of people, they blame R. Kelly for the role that he had in this, and they also blame the people who helped assist his behavior, taking him to go to places to help him get this license or whatever. Do you feel like you are just as accountable as R. Kelly in that situation?
I feel like I'm the main fault. I feel like all this is my fault. I
Mm-hmm.
live with it every day. And I apologize, and I prayed on it, and it's something that is rocked my world in a way of I'm sorry, and I just what else can I do? It's done. I did not. I was younger myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I was numb. I was numb when it first happened. I was numb, and I didn't think Robert worked you like a dog when you were out there working with him. And I was his tour manager and personal assistant. I didn't get rest. So
Mm-hmm.
I was working. I probably had been up for 3-4 days when he told me when I was walking him to the stage, and he told me what he told me. He said, "Man, we got to get back to Chicago." And I wanted to call Aaliyah's uncle. I wanted to call Barry, and that's what I should have did. But I had been with Robert for 7 years, and I had just met Barry and Aaliyah, and so I wanted to hear what he had to say before I made a call. And then when
So
we
your
got to the
loyalty basically was with R. Kelly at that time.
yes,
Correct.
yes, and then not to take sides because wrong was wrong. You know, that was the wrong thing. That was the wrong decision I made. I should have called Barry. You know, I mean, I knew Aaliyah's mama and daddy, and I knew Jomo, but I should have called Barry because who was at the head of the where we were at, and I didn't, and I didn't believe that they would go through this, and I did fight them verbally to not do this, but all right, man, I tried. Come on, and I was numb, and after that, I didn't like any of them anymore because I even belittled myself. I went up out of my character. I consider myself um, not a bad dude, but I stood for morals. My mama raised me with morals, and to stand in that seat at that time and to not make the right decision, it hurts my soul. You see, and I live with that, and I'm sorry for that. And Aaliyah, and then when it comes to Aaliyah, and Aaliyah was a child.
Right.
So Aaliyah was not responsible for anything. When people blame Aaliyah and say bad things about Aaliyah, it's sad because she was not at fault of that. And she was a young girl that fell for a charming guy, and he deceived her, and he deceived us all at that time. Um, her mom, they were there all the time. But you can't watch a child all the time and everywhere they go. And when you trust somebody, you lack down a little bit. And they trusted us. And Robert betrayed us. And he betrayed them. And I felt he loved her. I felt they loved each other. I felt when they were together that, when all of us would be together, her mom and everybody, it was like Robert seemed to have to fit with them as a family, when we would do Christmas together and stuff like that.
Do you think that they were aware that, because I always see that they appear like they had no idea. Like, we were there, we had no idea about the relationship. Do you think that, because you're saying he fit as a family, and you were able to see that the love that they had together?
I mean, they saw it. We all saw that they had a little something, but we knew at the same time that Aaliyah was a baby and Robert was older, but Robert was super silly. Robert was, we tried to look at other things about him that would describe his character at that moment to be in that situation. But I even asked him, I said, Rob, man, after seeing things being a little too friendly or something, man, Rob, you ain't messing with, you ain't doing nothing with Aaliyah, you ain't trying to mess with Aaliyah, are you, man? Oh man, that's like my little sister, and so you got to let it pass. And my wholehearted true belief is that I know that Aaliyah's mom and dad and Barry, they would see things, and even Jomo, because we were always together. And we would, like I said, it seemed like they were fitting. We always thought Robert to be a little slow and wanting to be super smart, and so, but he was deceiving. He truly was deceiving.
So do you believe that he truly deceived her family?
We all wanted Aaliyah to be so comfortable in what she was doing, because when you would sit there and watch Robert and Aaliyah work together, he brought things out of her. He did bring Aaliyah out. You know, her first album, and they were close. And when Robert writes, he turns into the person. When he did Michael Jackson, he turned into Mike. You know, if he did that song for Gladys Knight, he turned into the woman. You know, that's how he flowed. So we didn't look at it to like, you know, me and Barry would look back and man, they didn't. Well, Robert have to wait. You know, we would see things, but we wouldn't. We would think that you had some morals. We would hope that we believed in him. You see, and we were deceived, and that was just the bottom line. I looked for things to happen after we did this, after the marriage thing. There was no right after they did it, we left. There was no after hugs and none of that. We left, and Leah went home.
So they go, they get the marriage certificate, they get married. You leave, Aaliyah goes home, and what is your relationship going forward with R. Kelly?
It was over after that. Well, it was over after that pretty much because I just didn't like myself. And we didn't get along with anything we talked about. He wasn't listening. This is my shit. It was no longer, he was in control. Now he had grew up, you know, in respect to, he had stepped out of himself. And I had went my course. And that's what Barry told me. Barry Hankins said, you just went your course with this one.
Okay,
you know?
And your situation running its course, there was mentions in my interview that I did with Public Announcement that money was taken from him?
Nah.
From you, or that you took money from him?
Robert
that
gave me no, I didn't steal. I didn't take no money. I took money from Robert in the beginning, when we were down in New York. That's the only time I took any money. It was just $200. And I took that because my family was hungry. And I was in New York with him, and he had a whole pocket full of money and all. They gave him per diems and everything. He didn't give me nothing. And that's when we first started getting into it. I'm like, I was the kind of person, man, if my girl tell me she hungry, my baby hungry, then I got to get some money, and I'm in New York, man. You can't give it to me. Somebody's finna get a headache. Because I was ready to go outside and take some money from somebody. But instead, I took it out of his wallet because he had a whole bunch anyway. And then I felt like he was wrong to me, and then I told him. You see, so that was in the 90s. Now we're talking about I left in 95. No, I didn't steal. Now Robert tells you everybody do something to him. You know, everybody has signed papers and say you did something, but I didn't steal nothing from nobody. I'm not a thief. I'll take some shit from you, but I ain't a thief. You know, I'm a thief, but I ain't taking it from you because you ain't got nothing. You can't give me what I need. Okay. And so public announcement. If Robert told him that, you know. That's just something he's saying. That's all. Robert no ain't steal nothing from him.
Okay, so so I'm gonna just back up and reset. Okay. Because I was like, okay, trying to take it all in. Okay, so your statement to that is that it only happened one time, and that was way before your departure with him, and that had nothing to do with you leaving him. That was just a one-time situation where you needed to feed your family, and you let him know, I took the money, I had to feed my family, and now
I let him know later. I didn't let him know right that day. I let him know later, but he told me, I don't even think it's you. I ain't say nothing then, but it didn't come up in 95 to say that's why he fired me. No, way before that. Now, after I left him, I still had the credit card, the American Express. Okay. And here it is. After that, I left him. We're done. And Daryl, his accountant, knew I had this card. And he said, man, you just hold on to that. Shit, I used it.
So
Daryl knew that, so that wasn't stealing either. He knew it. So they didn't turn it off. I said, I got the card. He said, well, you just hold on to that, man. You might need a little something. Don't worry about it. Because I was.
Who's Daryl? Sorry.
Daryl McDavid was his accountant.
Okay, so his accountant knew that you had his credit card, and when you decided to depart from working with him, he gave you the green light to be able to continue to use his credit card.
He didn't say use it, he said hold on to it. He didn't say use it, he said hold on to it. But, here I am broke. I went to the gas station one day. It's winter time in Chicago, Christmas time, and I went to the gas station, bro. I'm talking about I had my kids and they didn't have nothing. We didn't have nothing.
Wait.
So
Lean back. Yeah, stay to the left because how I'm doing the split screen, the half of the screen is not on there because I have to fit myself and you in there. So stay to this side. Okay.
So what happened after that? I went to the gas station one day and I tried the car and it worked.
Okay.
It was Christmas then. That's just the bottom line. But that was gone from me, way gone. It was over. I was never coming back. But again, he hired me again a year after that. So
you used the card. Was that kind of yourself saying, hey, this is my payment, my severance package of leaving? Like, how?
I didn't care. I didn't think nothing about it. It worked. I used it. Fuck them. That was my thought. So, if you got some beef with that, that's your business. And I ain't steal shit, and that's just the bottom line to it.
But if he didn't know about it, that's kind of like stealing.
Well, take it as stealing if you want to. I don't care. If so what? What? I ain't finna sit here and argue about if I took something from that man. Why is it a concern to anybody? Robert hired me back a year after that. You see, so it wasn't that big of a deal to him, so I'm not going to sit here and be arguing about if it's a big deal to you. You see, because I'm telling you, I didn't steal it. I took it.
I understand what you're saying, but a lot of people want to know what are the different motives, and that is when we were having a conversation about the different people who appeared in Surviving R. Kelly. A lot of it was they got motives because they have a vendetta against him. The reason they're speaking out is because they're no longer able to be a part. And if there is bad blood, that makes a difference as to the motive in speaking out about R. Kelly. So, I mean, it does make a difference if you took from him and there's bad blood behind
But that's not the issue with me and Robert. Not at all. That's not an issue with me and Robert. Again, like I said, he hired me back another year after that because Daryl done called me and they sent me overseas, and I didn't stay there either. So.
Okay.
I left in 90, right after the Leah situation, I left. Then during that period, other things were happening. Tapes came up missing and all kind of stuff was happening. And I always been close to Robert. When
you say tapes, music tapes?
No, this was when the first tape started coming out about him and some girls. And he called me back at that time. Okay. Because I was influential on the streets. You see, and
influential, and what do you mean? In which way?
And people like me. People talk to me. People, had a respect for me, and they would communicate with me. And if something was happening, and then I could ask somebody something, and it'll be out there on the streets, and I could find out.
So he put you up to investigate who got the tapes? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he didn't put me up to it. He called me to his office, and it's like I said, I am conflicted with this right now because the things that you're asking me about are things of the past in respect to. They really have no big value to what this thing is doing to everybody. People have been hurt in this situation. Robert Kelly has not been an honorable person in this situation.
Anybody who I interview, I don't want you to feel badgered by my questions. I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you because that's not my goal to attack you. What I like to do is understand the clear picture of what's going on. I like to know what roles people played. I want to know, I want to know the full story. I don't want to know the part that just only makes him look bad. I don't want to make you look bad. I don't want to pin certain things on people. I just want to get a clear understanding of what the environment was, what was happening, what the relationships were like, how people departed ways, what was going on. So I just want to clarify that because I don't want you to feel attacked. I feel like you started to kind of feel like
a little bit. I kind of feel like interrogation.
You started to feel like I'm attacking you when I'm just trying to figure out.
Understand.
What what's going on because I don't want you to feel like that. I don't want anybody who I interview to feel like that. I'm just trying, like I said, to understand the relationship roles, and I feel like if there is bad blood or if there are truths to certain things, then it would, not to say like, oh, I'm just trying to hop on this R. Kelly train now because like you said, you wrote your book 8 years ago, but certain things to me, do matter when telling the full story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, again, I wrote that book 8 years ago, The Man Behind the Man. And I didn't go out and hire a publicist to get me publicity then, and I'm not doing it now. You see,
Okay.
I am on the internet just like a lot of people, and I see you people talking on it, and I look at people, and I look at the comments, and I look at all the bad things that are said about me, and I try to answer them. And so now it's time to really like help people get some understanding to this. For one, I really want to close the gap with Aaliyah. I really want to close that because her mom has suffered enough for this. It's a lot. You know, she lost her daughter and her husband. And now whatever she's got to deal with this, that's her and God now. Let her do that. Let her go at peace with that because that's a lot. She went through a lot. And she trusted. And I'm hearing all kind of things about Miss Diane, and she's a wonderful lady. You know, Leah's family is wonderful. I'm sorry for my partner. I wish I had a call Barry that maybe it would have made a difference. You see, but in that respect, I don't like to talk about Leah because she had no part in being a
right.
victim.
In that part, we can agree that she was a victim. I'm not placing blame on her. When I talk about any of my R. Kelly videos, I don't feel like she was this person that people paint her out to be. I feel like she was a 15-year-old little girl.
Aaliyah was an angel for her time here.
Yeah, and that's why I try to get a clear understanding as to, you know, the mom doesn't talk much. She wrote out a statement, so all people
she can't talk. This is hurtful. I mean, it pains me. I'm telling you, man. I sit up pretty much looking at this stuff here, and when Aaliyah comes up, it hurts. It don't stop hurting. So can you imagine her? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's leave her alone, man. Let's leave her alone. Let's leave her alone with Aaliyah. Aaliyah was here, and we were blessed with her, and to enjoy her and her smile should live inside of our hearts.
Mm-hmm. So we can move on from Aaliyah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Surviving R. Kelly, the docuseries. How did they contact you to be a part of that documentary?
They called me, Clarissa. I'll tell you your name now. And she called me, reached out to me on, I think it was Facebook or Messenger, and said that she was with Lifetime and they got my book. And they said they wanted to sit and talk to me about it because it was very informative on what they were doing regarding R. Kelly. And showing the people how he all started, and that was me.
Okay.
You see? And so when I went and talked to him, I sat and talked to him about my book, and they started asking questions about it, and that was that. But they only put on what they placed my words where they wanted to place them at, in the conversations in which they had. The question, they placed my words there. Okay, like when Rob wanted to go to the mall, we take him to the mall. We worked for him. Make it look like I'm right here with him doing this. But yes, he was a young artist when he was with me. And the malls were just beginning to open. So malls were new. That was the hangout place for people. And they wanted to go to mall in every city because I had to schedule my artist. I had to know where he was. And I had to put him, where is he going after this? So everywhere we went, I scheduled a mall. Where's the mall at? Okay, take them there. That gives me some free time with myself because I'm riding the bus with a whole bunch of kids. Seem like they're not. None of them were young, but they just had that mentality, you know. And so he would go after that. He would go to play basketball. After basketball, he would go to McDonald's. After McDonald's, he would come to a sound check. If he don't make the sound check, then he's at the hotel. Security's telling me where it's at. That was every city. So when they began to start passing out notes and stuff like that, then I started taking a different approach at them because I had to put up a defense to try to protect my artists, and that was my heart's thing with Robert. And when Robert began to step out of himself and this is my shit, then he wanted me to humble and do what he wanted me to do, and I just couldn't be like that. I had a job to do, and my job description was to protect you. You wasn't protecting yourself, so now you want me to work and do what you want me to do. You want me to start fights with other people. We was out there with LL. We was out there with Gerald. We was out there with lots of people, and it was always confusion. And I just got tired of that. So now we're talking about the Surviving R. Kelly. So when I saw the program, it stirred up some different things inside of me. Again, feeling the shame in which I participated in where I was at.
What do you think now that we see all the women that come out, we see the situation from his past, what do you think is his proper correction? Do you think that he needs like mental health help as far as going to a mental facility, getting some type of psychological help? Or do you think that he deserves jail time for what he's doing? What do you think the correction for this is?
Again, I think that an understanding of what we're walking is truly needed in so many ways in respect to this. To me, Robert is a light that's going to shine, to bring out some truth and a whole lot of things. To be in jail, I think that the opportunity to lock him up, they should have did it when they had that, but they didn't because they was found not guilty. And the one with the girl with the cases, Aaliyah was. That's over. He admitted that he married her. That should be enough because of the pain, and she's not here.
Okay.
Right now. So
you don't think
let's close it again. Now, because he admitted to that. He said that his lawyer came and sat down and said he didn't do it, but his lawyer said Robert didn't know how old she was. So,
no, what I'm asking is, what do you think is his correction? I'm not saying about I'm talking about all the things that he's done as a whole. What do you think is the proper correction? Do you think he needs jail time, or do you think he needs mental health help, psychological help? He
needs psychological. He needs to be cleansed. It's not, to me, Robert, I mean, we can lock him up in the jail cell. But then, then you're going to do something deeper because now he has a gift. We're all aware of that.
Okay.
He needs psychological help. If you want me to cut it short, but if you want me to tell you how and why he deserves that.
I mean, I understand why he would need psychological help. We all see what he's doing. So I think we get an understanding. So it's just like a matter of, I guess, personal opinion, because some people feel like he needs to be jailed, locked away. And then some people think that he needs a second chance and to be able to be
We gave him a second chance. See, when they found him not guilty. They gave him a second chance. See, that's the whole problem. Mm-hmm. We gave him second chances. You see, when he violated me and dishonored me and my family, I should have whooped his ass.
How did he violate you?
Well, he went with my sister. He went with people that were sponsoring him, and his little head overruled his big head. But he was young for me to feel that, so I overlooked that. But
so he started dating your sister, or having a sexual relationship with her? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wrote it in the book. See, I don't got to, once you go in there, then you'll say, whoa. You see, that's something you have to go, Now, after that, he did some other things. To pretty much everybody that came into his life, he has done something. And he got a pass. See, You learn in life by two ways. You learn by discipline, and you learn by consequences, right?
Okay.
Robert didn't get any discipline, so he didn't have to face his consequences. So that grew in him. Mm-hmm. See, like a weed. A weed grows, and if you don't cut it, it gets stronger and stronger. So this seed of lust and abuse and illiteracy and sneakiness and hiding your pain has grown in him so thick.
Right.
Till I believe I can fly. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't ready for that.
He writes that shit. He writes that shit. You know what I'm saying? And when I first met Robert, we used to ride around. I come get this kid because he, man, me put him in the car. I'm pulling up on these two ladies, young teenage girls. Girl, I was wondering if you would like to come with me to a place where our love would flow. That boy would flow right there. Okay. And the girls was, ooh, hey, let's go get a McDonald's. Let's go in here and sit down in Burger King. And that's from there we going on a date. Mm-hmm. So, and that built his confidence. And I believe that when he got with, my sister, she was an older woman. And now, wow.
So he wasn't totally into underage girls, because how old was your sister at the time?
About 27, 26, 27. You know, and he was.
He was what?
So, no, he was younger. He was younger. So, and so that's how Robert wrote, and he patterned himself after things that he see. If you listen to him talk on his videos and everything he talks about, if he's not playing, making a joke, if he gets serious, it's only for a second, and he quotes somebody, and then he's lost after that. See, I left him in '94. He's stuck there. You see, but his imagination.
So you think that he didn't grow mentally after that?
Yes, his imagination is buck wild when it comes to people, because that's how he communicates. He'll stand on the stage and see y'all screaming and hollering, and he now he knows how to get to you out there. See, I see your hands raised. Come on, clap, clap, clap. Now you can put the whole song together. That's his genius. Now that's a gift. That's a gift that overlaps his intellect, overlaps his. It communicates his pain, and it tells a story that identifies in our lives.
Right.
So to cut him down, and we're cutting off the gift.
So you think he should be able to still continue to make music, is what you're saying, and use his gift?
I mean, it means he's always going to make music, whether it's public or not, if he survives this. See, he's in a slippery slope right now, and I think that Robert he has to be willing. He has to be willing to look and say, man, everybody ain't wrong. You know, what they say, pride comes before the fall.
I've never heard that one, but
something like that. But he's prideful, and right now he's hurting, and I know he's hurting because the people have condemned him. To me, it's a double jeopardy. And not in defense to his character, to the things that people believe that he has done. People want to. I mean, I'm remorseful. I'm remorseful, and I feel like he's not showing any of that, and that bothers people.
Yeah, that he's not showing any remorse.
Yeah, that bothers people, and I think that, and he don't know how to come and tell you. He has to write it, and he don't know to write it because he don't know if he did it. You see what I'm saying? So that's mental. But at the same time, these girls are hurting. These girls on the panel, people have hurt. Families are destroyed. Look at his family. You see? So it's time for a healing, to be honest with you. It's time for a healing.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to step away from R. Kelly per se, and I want to talk to you specifically about the process in which you underwent the docuseries. So when I talked to you, you said that you were contacted via Facebook by one of the members of Lifetime to come on and do the docuseries. Okay. And then you also stated that there were parts of your words put in other places that was not in context.
Yeah, I mean, you got that. You had the part. I mean, it made it look like I was right there with him. It made it look like I was supporting his ways, in which happened after me. Those girls, I didn't know none. I know the young girl that was in the videotape with him. That I know her, but I didn't know her enough to say that he was messing with her. I know that she was babysitting for him when Andrea.
So is it safe to say that they patched together the narrative that they wanted to sell?
Yeah, I would say that, yes. I look at everybody in there, I'm like, I mean, I wasn't nobody. They didn't tell me who, but they told me they had a lot of people that were from his background back in the days, from the Cotton Club and stuff like that. And I'm like, who could that be? Because I pretty much knew everybody. And then when I seen the show, they didn't let me know it was coming out. They didn't invite me to the premiere, none of that kind of stuff. And when it came out, I didn't watch it until I looked at all the comments of people. And after I seen that, I said, let me watch this thing. And I watched it, and I'm like, wow.
Have you seen the interview that, or the audio that was released by Daytime Tea Time, in which Timothy Savage was on recording, and he was talking about how some of the producers knew that some of the people were lying on there. Did you watch that?
No, I've never watched anything on Mr. Savage because I didn't. I've never watched anything on Mr. Savage. He called me a few times, but I don't answer the calls because I don't see where we got anything in common other than the fact if your daughter's held hostage, and then you should go get her. And you don't need cameras to do that. If you get a camera, it's because you've committed a crime. You see, against them in respect to that. But, you know, when I see his daughter saying that she's not a hostage, I believe that because I know Robert Kelly. I don't
So you
know
don't
Robert.
think that he's holding any of the women hostage?
Not a hostage, no. Robert Kelly has, again, his mind level is there at the same level. He can talk them out of things. It's just like if you got a man, you know, your level of respect for him is how you hold for him. His display of love to you is what bonds you to.
Mm-hmm.
So
your mic is rubbing against your shirt again.
Okay. His again, your level of respect for him equates his display of love to you.
Yeah, now, basically, a woman in her early 20s, and him, his mental capacity is there of a 20-year-old. So you're saying basically they're able to communicate and you know get along because their mind mentally is in the same place.
Well, he's comforting to them, and I mean, they're comforting to him, and he's the provider for them. They like the world they live in. They like walking out in the limelight. When he first got with the dancers, they wanted this limelight. You know, I know Andrea. Andrea's an awesome dancer, and she loved it every night when them lights came on her. And when after the lights and after the show, everybody was, hey, hey, hey. You know, and Robert's way of telling them to stay in straight lines or don't look at people, he felt was to, he told me, Mr. McGlynn used to always tell him, don't go out in front of the audience after your show. And after the show, you leave straight out. You sit back there and wait. And that's what he used to do. And he had them do the same thing, make them want you. But that was the wrong concept to me. But those girls knew what they were doing. And as far as being, I don't think Robert is the hostage. He don't do that. He don't.
So you don't think that he's okay? So you believe that they're able to leave on their own free will, and that you know it's a consensual relationship.
Yeah, if they leave, they know that what they're walking away from. They want that. Because me, even when I left, I didn't have nothing. After 6-7 years with her, I didn't have nothing. That was my fault. You see, I bruised my damn self by staying in it. You see what I'm saying? He ain't beat me up. He didn't say, Johnny, sleep on the couch out there. You got to be here in the morning. If I left and I wasn't there and he didn't miss me, he didn't call me. But if I made myself to where I would be, I tried to create a job to where I'm valuable to where he needed me, then he called me. But if you're just there hanging, man, you know, he liked the company.
Right.
You know, so that's how that go with that. Not to say that they weren't abused, because to me, you have to draw a line in abuse. You just do, because it stands alone. And to me, it's the only thing that does.
So, okay, so you said that you believe that their relationship was consensual. When it comes to the docuseries, because there was a lot of speculation on whether the people who participated in the docuseries were paid or not paid. Did you guys receive compensation to be in the docuseries?
Well, they told me they couldn't pay you just a straight out fee. They paid for pictures. I don't know what they paid them. You see, I got paid for pictures. I gave them 3-4 pictures, and they gave me some money for the pictures. I'm sure that everybody else got paid something if it wasn't for pictures, or if it was for just pictures. It wasn't a lot of money involved when you're doing a documentary series, I don't think. But I don't know that feel. I did it because they spoke of my book, and that's why I did it.
So you pretty much did it for promo for your book.
Pretty much, you know, because it's been sitting for 8 years, and if it was about his beginning, I don't want to be forgotten. I was a part of that beginning. I got some pain in that beginning, so hey, why not? Mm-hmm. You know, I helped develop him. I helped develop the monster.
Right. So they didn't offer per se, I'm gonna pay you to be in the docuseries, but I'll pay you if you have supporting stuff that we can include. So So you're saying that it wasn't a lot of money that they gave, and that wasn't the...
No, I ain't getting no lot. I ain't getting no money to go get no house, no car, no. I couldn't. It wasn't no money like that.
I mean, well, I mean, I wouldn't assume that you'd be able to go get no money like that, but it's something.
It wasn't nothing close to that. It wasn't nothing that. I mean, like I look at. I mean, again, I could go back to some of the people in it. Jim Pratt. Yeah, man. Robert used to watch videos, and that boy ain't never watched no video with Robert. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know because I was there. I would hire him as a security just to go hang out for a weekend, and he wasn't even close to Robert at that. You see,
people were clearly
he knew Robert. He knew Robert. He knows him. We used to go out and play ball together, stuff like that. But that was somebody that they knew to get to his wife.
So people were clearly lying on the docuseries and not telling the truth.
I mean, to say that they're lying is to say that you've been with them 24 hours a day, or that you really know what they saw. I don't.
But to
identify Jim, I know Jim. To say that I don't believe, I can say that I don't believe.
Okay.
So I guess that's the better way to say it. I don't believe that he saw tapes of Robert. I ain't never saw a tape of Robert except what his brother Kerry showed me. And just be with Robert and hang out with him. He didn't show no videotapes of himself with the girls. Those was for his private use.
So basically, you don't want to call him a liar, but they weren't. You don't believe him.
I don't believe that he saw tapes with Robert. I don't believe that. No.
Okay.
That's just my belief. He could have. I'm not saying I can't say he didn't. But from my belief and knowing Robert, he don't do that. And Jim wasn't that close with Robert, where he could even call him. So why would he sit and watch a tape with somebody he don't, probably don't even know his number? Robert back then didn't know his number. He knew his friend's number, Larry's number, but he wasn't close with Robert like that. That's just Jim. His wife, she knew who he was. To sit up there and say she didn't, and I'm not trying to defend him because I'm disappointed in him. But to have somebody I have a history with him.
Okay.
See, and love and the truth don't change. See, I have that history with him, and no.
So when it comes to Drea, she knew what exactly?
She know the kind of man Robert was. Robert was a player. Even when she met him, when I was with Robert, he had women around. I mean, look at 12 play. Mm-hmm. We put together 12 women, and we wasn't looking at little girls. Never. That didn't happen until I don't know how Robert got there. I really don't. But again, I have to look at what he's come up in to see that's.
You were going down a timeline of the people that were in the docuseries. So you said the first guy, he said that he watched tapes with R. Kelly. You don't believe that to be true. Drea claims that she didn't know about the women, and you're saying that she knew about his lifestyle. When it comes to other people in the docuseries, what is your overall view of it, of the other people in the docuseries?
Well, I feel like they're hurt. I feel like they were hurt because I guess they might have got tired, and I don't think that Robert. I think that they got tired of being in what they were in, and they weren't number one as they had hoped to be.
So bitter because they weren't the main chick.
Yeah.
So,
none of them should have been there if they'd have looked at the fact that the man was married.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is they knew that he was married. They knew that there were other women. They agreed to start being in this lifestyle. But once they figured out that they could not be the main chick, they decided to depart. And that's really what this is derived around. Is that what I just want to summarize?
I mean, you got to look at, when you're standing on what's real and the truth, man, the man married. What you doing with him? Mm-hmm. When you mess with a married person, it's death. It's trouble.
Okay.
So what's happening? Mm-hmm. Trouble. You messing with a married man. You know he married. Regardless if he together with his wife or not. You ain't supposed to mess with married people. It's trouble. And so now you're looking for me to find some, to be compassionate about you being hurt when you're violating the vows of a marriage. So I have to stop there and say, hey, okay, I can be compassionate about you because you were young. But you at that time were old enough Now, if you were being hurt, then your family should have got you. Robert ain't holding you like that. So I got to look at what's real, and what's real is when you're married, man. And you can't violate that.
Well,
there should be a law for that.
Some of the people are saying that the girls are brainwashed, and that's why they're not going to their families, and that's, that's the issue, that he's brainwashing them and he's holding them away from his family, that he's keeping them away from their families. That's kind of what the narrative of Surviving R. Kelly is on the show. They're painting the narrative that the women can't leave, he's holding them. That's kind of what the picture that they're trying to paint. Even though they're saying,
I don't think that they. I don't think. I mean, if they couldn't leave, he'd be in jail right now, because that's just, you just don't hold hostages here in the United States of America. This is not one of them kind of countries, and then be out there walking the streets every day. You see, they with him. What kind of power does he have? Now we're giving an illiterate person all this power.
Right.
You see. And now you're saying that, that just says a lot for the medical term. Now we have to relook at the medical terms of things now. You see, this man blows a whistle when people follow. Is that a hypnotic whistle he's blowing? You see what I'm saying? That's what you got to look at now. He's the Pied Piper. Mm-hmm. Follow me. Everybody follows. You see?
You keep bursting out with these songs. You said you was a singer. I feel like you just want to sing a song to us. So leave us with a song, because
that's Robert, though. That's my memories of Robert. He walks and he sings. If he got a girl confused about something, if he mad, if he think he got to get to this girl, and she's giving him some stress, or he might be not having the grip he want, he ain't gonna argue with you. Robert ain't like, he gonna sit down on this piano and he gonna, girl, I've been drowning myself in my own tears. That's her song. Now she going back. She got him again. He got her again. That's
so now she back hooked, because he done sung her song.
Her mom and them calling, and I'm okay, Mom. I'm cool. Daddy got me. And they living in a good life. But only my objection with Robert is that you should put him in school. You should have them be, man, you should have all your women, you should have them in college. They should be your lawyers, your doctors, and all that. If you got them like that. And he can have it like that. But you don't know what to do with them. So now he's got a bunch of angry young girls. When a woman's fed up, ain't nothing you can do about it.
I can't take these outbursts of songs now.
That's Robert, man.
Okay, so wrapping up, and I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, even though it got a little bit hostile, a little bit. I'm like, what's happening right now?
I stay out of myself. I'm emotional.
Yeah, it's all good. What takeaway do you want? Well, not what takeaway. Okay. So, giving everything that you know about the situation, the time that you shared working with him, what is a message, if he was watching this right now, what is something that you want to let him know or let the people know in final closing about the situation? What message do you have?
Well, I would like the only message I would have is to sit and talk with Robert and to tell him what's in my heart for him. And that's about it. He needs to just be still right now. Be still. Stop trying to fix things yourself. Mm-hmm. And just be still right now, because the more you do, the more you mess up. Because, again, I think that he's grown a lot in his intellect, but it's still the blind leading the blind, because everybody worked for him. And when they work for him, he tells them what to do. And he thinks his way is right. And Robert, you need to be still for a minute.
Okay.
All
right. Well, I guess we can wrap it up there. I do appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. Let the people know where they can find your book. If you want to shout out any of your social media, where they can find you, let them know all of that.
I just do Facebook Messenger stuff, and my book is The Man Behind the Man, Looking from the Inside Out. Okay, it's on Amazon.
Hold it up. You had it in front of you, right? Hold it up to the camera.
You see that? I get a lot of good comments on it. One young lady's reading my book online, and I listened to her read it, and I'm like, wow. She's like, it was amazing to watch, that. It's like hearing your first song over the radio, so I'm getting a lot of great comments from it.
And where did you say they could pick it up at? Where can I get it?
Amazon. It's at Amazon. You just can put my name in there, or the man behind the man, or it's called a R. Kelly Tell-All, but it's not really a tell-all. It's an informative book, and hopefully it can bring some understanding to people, about.
And what do you want people to know about you? Because, like you said, there's a lot of people who have assumptions about you. There are a lot of people who have said different things in your regard. So what is it that you want to let people know about you in closing before we finally just end the interview?
Well, everybody can have their own opinion about me, but I'm not a bad guy. I made a bad decision, and I'm sorry for that, but I wake up every single day. And as long as he keep waking me up, I'm going to keep going on. Mm-hmm. And I hope that to be a better person and to be able to help people to get understanding about things. And I don't be around a lot of people since then. I sit to myself a lot because I'm Mr. Goody Two Shoes to people now. So, that pushes people away from you. So,
okay. Be still. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for being interested. But I want you to get my book because I want you to laugh. I want you to smile. I want you to cry. And I want you to feel what's in here. We walked a path with Bernie Mac. We got a scene. I got a scene in here where LL Cool J snapped on him. It's a lot in this book that's fun. Mm-hmm. It'll make you laugh, make you cry, it'll make you mad at me, and all kind of things. And I think it's very entertaining. I wrote it in prison. Okay. I wrote it laying down in a four-corner cell, so it wasn't. I didn't do it to hurt anybody. Okay. Yeah. So, thank you for your time, and much success to you in what you do and getting people a message of understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Okay, so if you made it to the end of this video, and it's very important to me to know who is rocking with me all the way through. If you made it to the end of this video, I want you to put the half moon emoji and then any other emoji that represents your comments that you want to share about this interview. So if I see two emojis, one being the half moon emoji and then an emoji of your choice, whatever it is, two emojis paired together, I know you made it to the end, and I want to know what you think about this. I appreciate it a lot. Those of you who are not subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. And if you like my videos, share them, okay? Sharing my videos helps me out a lot. And most importantly, commenting below to let me know what you think about it. All right, guys. Peace.